From Las Vegas, it's Football Forecast Weekly. Starring Dennis Tobler. With the Professor Gordon Jones. And special reports with Dave Hammer. And now, the host of Football Forecast Weekly, Bob Elder.
Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Football Forecast Weekly, the show that each week, right here on this station, gives you the insights and the information you need to help better handicap and predict college and professional games. Hi, I'm your host, Bob Elder. Well, it's week number 10 of the football season, the first week in November, and personally, it's my favorite time of the year because in college, the teams are starting now to jockey for bowl bids. They want to get into that postseason to get a little bit more money and a lot of prestige. And in the pros, I think the key word now is change. Change in personnel and change in strategy. Some of it by necessity, others just because they have to do it. Case in point, Atlanta will make the change. Billy Joe Tolliver will now quarterback. Chris Miller is out with a big injury. And in Philadelphia, it is now Jim McMahon time. He takes the place of Randall Cunningham. And one thing you're not going to want to change is watching Football Forecast Weekly, because right here is where you'll get all the information and the reasons for those changes. Another case in point will be last week, in case you don't know, 10 of the 12 underdogs covered, 7 of them won outright. So you've got to watch a show just like this to get the information from Las Vegas. And joining me this week, of course, will be the Professor Gordon Jones. He is back from Florida, and he's got more of his premier picks. Dave Hammer will be joining us with more over and under selections, plus the reasons for those key line movements. And joining me now is a man who's got a big smile on his face. I don't know if it's because Jim McMahon is starting or because it's his wedding anniversary, and that's Dennis Tobler. Denny, how you doing?
Oh, real good, Bob. All those reasons, plus I hit my 4-team lock parlay last week.
And that had to be big. And, of course, it is a good time of the year with football taking full center stage. And I know there's a lot of concerns right now with you. I think a lot of it has to do with maybe monitoring some.
Well, we just keep getting calls into our office wanting us to explain the difference between real experts and bogus handicappers. Well, once again, we've come to the point of these services called monitoring services. The way they work is they expect a handicapper like myself that has a company in offices in New York, Los Angeles, and Las Vegas to call them and give them my selections and then turn around and pay them to take them. Well, sorry, folks, my selections have a value. If you call a handicapper and he says he's monitored by a monitoring firm, you hang up on him right now because he doesn't know enough about the game to be giving his selections away, much more selling them. So remember, anybody that has anything to do with a monitoring service, get rid of them. I got to tell you one quick thing. We said we weren't going to talk much about this. I just flew in from New Jersey. I was back in Atlantic City. You know, I couldn't wager on a game back there, and there's supposed to be a lot of experts. Well, isn't that something? I'd like to know how they could be experts if they're not beating the casinos out of their money like we do here.
All right, let's go to some games. We got a lot of good ones this week to pick. First, we've got Minnesota taking on Ohio State. The Buckeyes are a 21-point pick. Dennis, how do you see this one?
Well, like you said in the opening, Bob, these teams are now jockeying for bowl game positions, and this is a big game for Ohio State. They need a big win here to look at some bowls. The line on this one moved from 17 all the way up to 21, and the reason it did is because it was a terribly bad number to start with. Ohio State's coach Cooper has this team playing very well, and they're running their rushing game very well like the Ohio State teams of old, and that's what's enabling them to control the ball. Last week they held the ball for 35 minutes in their win, and if they do that against Minnesota this week, they'll have 50 points here. It looks like the number's too small at 21. Take the Buckeyes and lay the point.
Don't think they'll look ahead too far to Michigan.
Well, they're going to look ahead to Michigan, but Minnesota just has such a bad talent structure. Plus the fact Minnesota's been beat up all year. They have nothing to play for. They're way out of their league going down to play Ohio State this week.
I mentioned the smiles before, and it has to be because last week on your 4-team lock NFL parlay, you hit it. What can you do this week?
Well, it's almost incredible how I can mention these games on national television, come up and pick the winners and hit 11-to-1 odds. There's no one else in the country that can do this consistently. I've watched and I know. This week I'm coming with a 4-team college lock parlay. Get a jump early in the week. Start yourself off with some winners on Saturday. Then call my hotline back again on Sunday for more winners. My number is 1-900-903-0933 for my college lock parlay of the year.
And you're not doing too bad on Monday nights. I think you've got a phenomenal record going.
Well, that's right. Bob knows. Last year I was 26-5 on my side and total selections Monday night. That's documented on K-Orange Radio before kickoff Monday nights. So I'm red hot. This year I've won 4 straight side and totals, and we're really rolling. Don't forget to call on Monday night, that same hotline number.
All right, we're on a roll right now. We've got more selections coming up for you. Dennis has another college game, 2 big pro games, and of course the professor and Dave Hammer are waiting in the wings. They've got their selections for you too. Don't go away from that television set. We'll be right back with more Football Forecast Weekly.
Hello, football fans. I'm Las Vegas handicapper Dennis Tobler. And last week in this very spot, I released a 4-team lock NFL parlay, and just like I claimed, it was a lock, as our 4 teams were an easy winner. I'm going to release a 4-team college lock parlay this weekend. If you missed out last weekend, don't miss out this weekend. Get these 4 easy college winners by calling 1-900-903-0933 for only $20. You can be a winner, too.
Hello, football fans. I'm Dave Hammer, and I've been hitting my over-under selections at such a phenomenal rate. This year, I'm going to release a 4-team over-under parlay in the NFL. The only way you're going to get this 4-team winner is to call my hotline number at 900-454-6600, and for only $20, you get these 4 big over-under winners. You remember, you can't get this kind of information anywhere else. Call 900-454-6600 and call now.
Come on in, Dennis. It's time to talk about our new weekly consensus hotline.
That's right, Gordon. The 3 of us agree on the single strongest plays of the week for the NFL action.
For the college game we all love.
And the best over-under play of the week.
Get the 3 single strongest plays of the week, our consensus selections, by calling 1-900-420-0016, only $10 a call. That's the Football Forecast Weekly
Consensus Hotline.
Hello, football fans. I'm Las Vegas handicapper Dennis Tobler. And last week in this very spot, I released a 4-team lock NFL parlay, and just like I claimed, it was a lock, as our 4 teams were an easy winner. I'm going to release a 4-team college lock parlay this weekend. If you missed out last weekend, don't miss out this weekend. Get these 4 easy college winners by calling 1-900-903-0933 for only $20. You can be a winner, too.
Welcome back to Football Forecast Weekly, everyone. Don't forget, jot down all those numbers you're seeing because you'll want to give them a call. Our guys are on fire right now, and you're going to want to jump on the winning bandwagon. Right now, let's go back to Dennis Tobler, who's got some more selections for us. First one right out of the chute, we've got the Oregon State Beavers coming down to play UCLA. The Bruins a 12.5-point pick. How do you see this one?
Well, this is for all the friends in Los Angeles, and we know UCLA has been playing very poorly lately. We'll try to touch on a little bit and give you an overview of this matchup. Oregon State obviously had the week off last weekend, and as my pal Gordon Jones told me before the show, he says they tried to get the whole year off, but they'd only let them have 1 week off. So Oregon State's in trouble. They have to go down and play a UCLA team that has been lambasted by everybody the last few weeks. UCLA's got their share of problems. Their number 1 quarterback's hurt, will not play. Their number 2 quarterback, Fain, who has played the last several weeks and not played well at all, is injured and may not play. But in my way of thinking, no matter who they play, he's got to be better than this Fain. One of the biggest problems with the Bruins is that Terry Donahue has just sat on his job. He has not went out and recruited, and the likes of Washington and USC and all the rest of them have passed him up, and he's going to have a lot of trouble competing. This week is a different story. UCLA is going to take out all their frustration on Oregon State, who will not be able to stop them running the ball. They don't need a quarterback to pass this week. Their rushing game will get the job done, and I think the emotion will play a big part here. They need a big win. I think they'll get it. The line dropped from 14 to 12.5. The wrong movement. It's going the wrong way on the movement. Take UCLA and lay the points here for the win.
And, of course, all the things you say give everybody a little credence as to why your 800 line is so popular right now, because it's absolutely free. Last week you had a big winner. This week, your NFC Game of the Year.
Well, that's right, Bob. Our 800 number is just to introduce people to our late phone service program. And mainly this is for the serious players out there that need that late information to capitalize. This late information is the same ones we play here in Las Vegas. We take into consideration weather, injuries, point spread movements, everything before we release our late games. But we're going to give you a free pick just to get you started this week, and that free pick happens to be my NFC Game of the Year. My AFC Game of the Year was an easy winner. So will this one be. We're going to give it to you free. Call now, 1-800-231-WINS.
And of course, since it's absolutely free, I think, hey, it's only a phone call. Give them a call. It's well worth the time. Let's go to a pro game. We've got one, I guess it could be called a grudge match. Miami goes up to Indianapolis, still smarting after that loss 2 weeks ago. They've been made a 6.5-point pick, they being the Dolphins. How do you see this one?
Well, I think they're still smarting about getting beat last week also. The Dolphins are on an 0-2 skid right now, and frankly, I don't look for it to stop this weekend. The odds makers have made the adjustment for the incentive of the loss 2 weeks ago by Indianapolis to Miami. In other words, this 6.5-point spread on Miami is far too high. So anyone running around out there or printing newspaper articles telling you that Miami's going to cover because it's a revenge game is all wet. The line's already been adjusted for, and it's far too high here. Indianapolis has one of the top front 9 defenses in the league with the youngest players in the league, which means they're going to get better and better and better. They beat Miami 2 weeks ago, and there's no reason to believe they can't beat Miami again this week. Miami just simply does not have a rushing game to take the pressure off Marino, and that trade with Denver for Bobby Humphrey is backfiring for the Dolphins. I look for Indianapolis to cover here, and you may hear this here the first and maybe the only place. I think the Colts will win this one straight up.
All right, let's go to another big game, a team I know you like, and that is Dennis Green's Minnesota Vikings. After the Monday night game, short week, they're heading down to Tampa to take on the Buccaneers, and Minnesota is a 6.5-point pick.
Well, I hate to say I told you so, but if all you viewers out there remember back to week one, I said the Vikings would win the Central Division of the NFC, and they'd win it easily, and last Monday night they put the capper on that halfway through the season. If you don't realize these kind of adjustments before the season starts, you can't be a winner. And that certainly is proof I knew what was going on with Minnesota. Not to mention, on Monday night, we released Minnesota in the over in that game to have a big win, and everybody's very happy with our selections. Minnesota, simply put, has a lot of talent, and Dennis Green is very intelligent for not instilling Bill Walsh's offense at Minnesota. All the other teams in the Central Division play Bill Walsh's offense. Therefore, all the defenses know how to stop him. Well, that isn't what Minnesota did. They installed the Washington offense, and that's sure screwing up their division. Look for Minnesota to coast all the way through. In this game, however, the points are too high. As much as I love the Minnesota Vikings, they have clinched. They're 3 games ahead of their division. They're going to go down to Tampa Bay with no incentive this week, and I think Tampa Bay is going to cover the number easy here. So take the Buccaneers plus the points against Minnesota. Minnesota has no incentive.
Well, that plus they can get your 800 number, your NFC Game of the Year, absolutely free.
That's right. Call my 800 number, 1-800-231-WINS. Get my NFC Game of the Year absolutely free as part of an introductory program. And don't forget where you hear this information. It only comes from one source.
And, of course, the 900 number, your college lock parlay. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, this is great. Follow up my 4-team NFL lock parlay with a 4-team college lock parlay. Be sure and call that 900 number for all the weekend selections, including Monday night. That's 903-0933.
All right, Dennis, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you next week, and tell Cindy happy anniversary.
Thank you, Bob.
All right, when we come back, the Professor Gordon Jones will join us along with Dave Hammer. You're not going to want to miss it. Stay right there.
Hello, sports fans. You know who I am. I'm Dennis Tobler, president of the TSI Network. My staff in Los Angeles, New York, and Las Vegas has to be the hardest working staff in the country. Why? Because we win each and every week of the year. If you want to get on the winning bandwagon, call us right now at 1-800-231-WINS, and I'll release to you absolutely free my NFC Game of the Year. 3 weeks ago, my AFC game won. Don't miss out on my NFC game. Call now.
I'm Prof. Gordon Jones. Sure hope you were with me last week when I released my AFC Underdog of the Year. Pittsburgh didn't even need the points. They beat Houston straight up. This week, an even bigger one. It's my SEC Blowout of the Year. The good teams are getting good at this time in college. The bad teams are going bad. And we've got a blowout coming up with a hot team in the SEC. You can get it absolutely free. Give me a call at 1-800-423-2350. That's the SEC Blowout of the Year.
Hello, football fans. I'm Dave Hammer, and I've been hitting my over-under selections at such a phenomenal rate. This year, I'm going to release a 4-team over-under parlay in the NFL. The only way you're going to get this 4-team winner is to call my hotline number at 900-454-6600, and for only $20, you get these 4 big over-under winners. You remember, you can't get this kind of information anywhere else. Call 900-454-6600 and call now.
Hello, sports fans. You know who I am. I'm Dennis Tobler, president of the TSI Network. My staff in Los Angeles, New York, and Las Vegas has to be the hardest working staff in the country. Why? Because we win each and every week of the year. If you want to get on the winning bandwagon, call us right now at 1-800-231-WINS, and I'll release to you absolutely free my NFC Game of the Year. 3 weeks ago, my AFC game won. Don't miss out on my NFC game. Call now.
Well, welcome back to Football Forecast Weekly, everyone. Joining me now is a man I know is happy to be back in the warm confines of Las Vegas after spending a little time in airports and the Breeders' Cup. And Gordon Jones, nice to have you back and back into football.
Back into football for that big second half, Bob, where everything comes together, and especially the power profiles coming together for the usual fast finish this year, Bob.
All right, and Gordon's got a lot of those big picks coming up in just a couple of minutes. But right now, time to go out on the strip and get those over and under selections from Dave Hammer. He was 2-0 last week. And also, once again, he's got those significant line movements, and those are very important because they give you the edge that you really need. And Dave, I tell you, I kind of starting to smile because I keep thinking back of Dennis telling me about those monitoring services, and it kind of makes me think of a car salesman who gives you $2,000, a brand new car, and then he kind of wants you to go out there and tell everybody how great that car is.
Well, I always get a chuckle, Bob, out of these so-called expert handicappers that have to pay a monitoring service to see if they're credible. There's only one way to find out if you're credible. That's to do like Dennis and the professor and I do. Walk up to the window, put your money down. You'll find out whether you're credible or not. Now, here's this week's significant movements. In the colleges, in the first matchup, it's Minnesota at Ohio State. Ohio State goes from 17 all the way up to 21. Minnesota, a very poor team. And Ohio State looking down the road a bit to Michigan. In your next matchup, it's Air Force versus Army, and Air Force goes from 9 down to 6. I think the reason being Army has the second leading rushing totals in the country. In your next matchup, it's Alabama versus LSU, and Alabama goes from 15 up to 17.5. Look out, Miami and Washington, number 3 is gaining on you. Now, in the pros, it was the Packers versus the Giants. The total goes from 8 up to 9.5 on the strength of the big Giant win at Washington. Now, that's this week's significant line movements, and I'll have some more on the totals. But speaking of totals, this week, I want all you viewers to know I'm going to be releasing my 4-team over-under parlay. The only way you're going to get this big winner is to call my hotline number at 900-454-6600. You'll want to be sure and call. You won't want to miss these 4 big winners. Now, here's 2 more winning selections on the over-unders. In your first matchup, it's the Raiders versus the Eagles. The total's 34. Play under 34. What you have here is a matchup of the number 1 defense in the NFC versus the number 5 defense in the AFC. And add in the fact that neither one of these teams' offenses are working very well. This points towards an under to me. Play under 34. Your next matchup is the Vikings versus the Bucks. The total on this one is 42. Play over 42. 2 keys here. Number 1, the Bucks scored 21 points on the Saints last week, and we all saw what Minnesota's offense can do when it wants to play ball, as evidenced by the win at Chicago. Play over 42 in this matchup. And be sure and listen to the hammer on these 2. Now, one more reminder, 4-team NFL parlay, big winner. Call 900-454-6600 and call right now. That's it here from the strip, Bob. Back to you.
Well, thank you very much, Dave. And I tell you, if I were you people out there, I'd give Dave a call. He is on fire with that over and under line. And I tell you, that's the best way to monitor any show or any way is just to call him and find out. Monitoring a show, 30 million people are watching this show, and you can see how good we're doing. Now we're going back to Gordon Jones, and in this particular segment, You have only one loss in the last 2 months, and this is your top college game. This week, we've got Virginia -3 at NC State. How do you see this one, Gordon?
I see it. Virginia, the way we've been doing most of the year, Bob, and that's right. In the past 2 months, actually, only one loss right here in this segment. And I think Virginia -3 at home. Really, the odds makers are telling us that North Carolina State is better. How could they be better? Virginia just lost to Florida State by 10. Have you forgotten that it was Florida State by 21 over North Carolina State? And the odds makers seem to be paying no attention. They actually have North Carolina State higher in the standings than Virginia. But here's the real key to this game. Virginia has the North Carolina State number. Is there any team in America that holds a 13-2 edge over the opposition as Virginia does over North Carolina State in the spread? And why did they do that? Well, one reason, they've got passers like Goodman, who has thrown 20 touchdown passes this year, while the opposition, Jordan, just 5. So I think any way you cut this one, and especially in this they've got their number angle, 13-2 in favor of Virginia, and they're only giving 3 at home, Bob.
All right, now, as we've been telling everybody when we had Dennis's segment and yours, you've got your 800 game this week. It's absolutely free. Last week, you hit your AFC Dog of the Year. This week, you're giving an SEC Blowout Game of the Year. Absolutely free. Tell people about it.
It's getting to be the blowout time of the year, too, Bob, because what's really happening is the teams that are out of the bowl picture, they're starting to experiment. They're getting discouraged on the college level. These are not professional players. These college players, they do have their downs. And the up teams are getting uppitier. The down teams are sort of getting downier, if there's such a word, Bob. And anyway, here, for free, just like last week when we thought that Pittsburgh had a big chance for the 3rd straight week, and they actually didn't even need the points. They blew away Houston, and here is a blowout game in the SEC. Get it absolutely free. 1-800-423-2350.
All right, thank you, Gordon. We're going to have more with Gordon in just a couple of minutes. Right now, why don't you go to the phone? Give those numbers a call. Those are strong plays, and besides, excuse me, they're absolutely free. You can't get any better than that. When we come back, the professor will have his television games, a very popular segment. We'll be back with more Football Forecast Weekly right after this.
I'm Prof. Gordon Jones. Sure hope you were with me last week when I released my AFC Underdog of the Year. Pittsburgh didn't even need the points. They beat Houston straight up. This week, an even bigger one. It's my SEC Blowout of the Year. The good teams are getting good at this time in college. The bad teams are going bad. And we've got a blowout coming up with a hot team in the SEC. You can get it absolutely free. Give me a call at 1-800-423-2350. That's the SEC Blowout of the Year.
Jane, you ignorant slut.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night. Right, you are, Teddy. Every night can be Saturday night with this all-new home video collection packed with the funniest moments from each year of Saturday Night Live. A collection you can only get from Time Live Video.
I am Beldar. Well, isn't that special?
Your collection starts with the 1975 season starring the original Not Ready for Primetime players at the low price of just $9.99. That's $10 off. Other videos will follow on about every 6 weeks. Buy only the ones you want, and your first video is just $9.99.
Hello.
It's time to laugh again with the Not Ready for Primetime players. So call now.
Everybody.
To order, call 1-800-642-4400 or send $9.99 plus $3.23 shipping and handling to the address shown on your screen.
Hello, football fans. I'm Las Vegas handicapper Dennis Tobler. And last week in this very spot, I released a 4-team lock NFL parlay. And just like I claimed, it was a lock, as our 4 teams were an easy winner. I'm going to release a 4-team college lock parlay this weekend. If you missed out last weekend, don't miss out this weekend. Get these 4 easy college winners by calling 1-900-903-0933 for only $20. You can be a winner, too.
Welcome back to Football Forecast Weekly, everyone. Gordon, time now to go to the television games. And, of course, the first one is on NBC because it's Notre Dame at home taking on Boston College, and Notre Dame a 9-point pick. How do you see this one?
The surprising thing, Bob, on this one is that the 2 teams are very close in the polls. I think the odds makers realize this is a little bit out of line. But the real theme of this game is class. Boston College has been playing a lot of the Eastern Patsies. Notre Dame has been playing the Michigans, some of the stronger teams in the country. And so when I tell you that Notre Dame is 2nd in offense nationally and Boston College is 6th, it's not nearly as close as it looks because actually Notre Dame playing the far, far tougher schedule. Now, if you want to get into the personnel, let's say that Foley of Boston College is having just about as good a year in the air as Meyer of Notre Dame, but where it really falls apart for Boston College is on the ground. The Notre Dame running attack, headed by Brooks at 8 yards a carry, backed up by Bettis right up the center at 5.5. Boston College on a patsy schedule, only averaging about 4.5 per carry against these easier teams. That's where it's going to be won at South Bend. First, the big advantage of being at home. Second, the big advantage of controlling it on the ground. I think Notre Dame minus the 9, they're going to make our 3rd straight win right in the spot, Bob.
All right, and I've got to think, too, that as we talked about in the open, Notre Dame, of course, almost guaranteed a bowl game, but they want to get a better bowl game, so I think they might really pour it on. Let's talk about your promo this week on 900, and that is your big combo line where they can make one call, and they've got a lot of selections to choose from.
And this 10th week, Bob, is going to be something, because as I work my power profiles and things as we go into the 10th week, we came up with about twice as many strong games this week as usual. I have 4 professional games on the 900 line that are at least a touchdown off the line. I have 6 college games that are up in the 10 and 14 point spread area, maybe an 80-85% profile type game, and you can get all of these, the college, the pro, even the over-unders, by one number alone. That's 1-900-976-9199.
Of course, almost all of the NFL games, in fact, all the NFL games are on television, but this one I know is a big one on CBS. Saw the promos last week when the Cowboys are playing Philadelphia. This week, the Cowboys go to the big Silverdome to take on the Lions. Cowboys are a 6.5-point pick. How do you see this one?
This is the revenge game of revenge games, Bob, and it's 6.5 points on the road. They lost. Dallas did to Detroit last year. And then, of course, Detroit knocked them out of the playoffs. Jimmy Johnson, who is so much better coach, I think, than Wayne Fontes, will not forget this. And, of course, last week we went Dallas over Philadelphia. Why leave them? Let's stick with them, giving the 6.5. They had advantage at quarterback, Aikman over Pete. Never would have thought at the beginning of the season that they have a huge edge at running back. And it's Emmitt Smith, so much stronger right now than Barry Sanders. And then, of course, Jimmy Johnson. On my profiles, I lined up all of the games these two teams have played. I rated them on my power profiles in order of the strength of the games. It comes out 75% Detroit, and that's on the road, giving the 6.5.
And, of course, you don't think the Cowboys will have a letdown after Philadelphia?
The Cowboys are the winningest team in the league now. They've got the coach who wants the revenge. On a double revenge, you don't have a layoff.
All right, let's go to your over and under selections. You're 3-1-1 the last 5 weeks. The Browns and Oilers, 39 is the number. How do you see this one?
Well, it's kind of nice that Houston is a big winner as a home favorite, a big winner in terms of getting a lot of points. It's also nice that they go over most of the time against the division and even outside the division, especially at home. But there's only one thing that matters in this particular game. These two teams, Cleveland and Houston, had gone over 7 consecutive times until bad weather knocked it under. Well, we're not going to have bad weather in Houston. Let's go right back to that 7-0 in favor of the overs. This should be a breeze for 39+.
And speaking of breezes, your blowout SEC game of the year, absolutely free.
The SEC, by the way, leading up to that first playoff, and it's a format that many of the conferences may follow. It's a tremendous format. The winning teams want to get into that. The losing teams, well, they're looking ahead to next year, and we've got absolutely free the SEC blowout of the year as the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Give me a call, 1-800-423-2350.
Okay, Gordon, we'll see you again next week.
Good deal.
And we hope to see you again next week. Don't forget, give those numbers a call. Lots of winners right here from Las Vegas. I'm Bob Elder. We'll see you next week.